It's go time, people. Game 5. Oh, man. Getting a little goosebumps. Oh, there you go, Giannis. You didn't even make it past like 10 seconds of my sentence. That's okay.
And there's the ISIS, Ben.
All right. Goodbye, Isis. Goodbye, Thor. Pretty quick.
Xing and Bellona open right now. Cloud9, they've got to make a decision. Do you leave both open, or do you ban Xing?
Ban Khepri, leave both open, honestly. Khepri has made a big factor in this.
Yeah, if you leave all 3 of those open, most likely Epsilon takes Xing and you get the Khepri Bellona.
Yeah, that would be really scary frontline to have.
And then you could play into Zeus or Zhang. Both work really well with compositions.
But they can also pick Khepri first if you leave Khepri open, and then they wouldn't pick Bellona and
clarification, though, the last time Xing and Bellona were left open, Cloud9 did lose that game. So that was game 2. So, and Soul gets picked first here.
I can't remember the last time that JeffHindla was even allowed the opportunity to play Xing. I'm not sure if that's something that they practice, but it definitely has to be something in their arsenal. Xing being highlighted. Now the question is going to be, are they going to pick the Xing and the Bellona?
I think it's Neith. Just like based on how highly prioritized Neith has been for Cloud9, it's just been utilized, and they've also finally
in the crowd say no out loud. I heard people say no to the Neith pick.
It's been effective, I'd say, but you know, only early. Coming into late game, sometimes if we see teams even, the harder hyper carry wins.
Okay, here we go. Next pick for Epsilon, and Bellona not a factor here. Xing gets picked up. Geb gets locked in. Good pick there for Epsilon, guys. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Geb Bellona here is solid. It gives you a really strong front line. You also have the Soul for the dual lane push. So, you know, Geb's biggest weakness is that he's, you know, one of the worst Guardians when it comes to the laning phase. And Soul is probably one of the strongest hunters. So you make sure your Geb isn't going to get pressured out early.
With the Soul in the dual lane, we might be able to see a Medusa coming out of Yammyn. That's something that he has done before. And in the Super Regionals, Xbalanque does get locked in for BaRRaCCuDDa.
And this might be like a double carry, right? The Soul Medusa, or Soul Chiron as well, and then the Neith Xbalanque.
I think Cloud9 might ban our Chiron right here.
Do you think, would they rather deal with the Medusa or the Chiron, you think?
I'd rather do have Medusa than the Chiron. I think Chiron is better overall.
I feel like Epsilon has to ban Athena here. There's no way they can give him Xing and Athena and have 2 hunters in the back of that crazy intense frontline. And they do, in fact, ban the Athena.
And that'd be just a third global as well, right? We've seen Cloud9. A lot of success with the globals and the mobility. Neith Xbalanque can really combine to help out a jungler's ganks. And yeah, if Athena was there too, it'd be too scary.
See what Cloud9's going to do here for their next pick. Thinking about what they have.
I would imagine Jeff's pick here, and then they're going to counter pick for andinster. Because I feel like they already know whatever support they want.
Okay.
Bacchus wouldn't be bad here.
I mean,
seems excited about it.
Ready. Sobek as well. So that works too.
Sobek is pretty good. He can be aggressive or he can be pilling everybody because his tail whip, it's just so good for pilling.
Yeah, so Cloud9 has a lot of space control with that Xing and Sobek. As Medusa is being locked in, I wouldn't be surprised if that goes in the mid lane.
I'm like, I feel really confident that's going to the mid lane. I feel like every time they get Soul, Epsilon really like to run it on emiltoo. And the Fenrir, once again, for that pick potential. Really effective against kind of the double hunter last time in the Freya and Neith, and I think it's going to have the same effect here, Neith and Xbalanque.
Last pick now. Epsilon feeling good about that one there, but let's see what's going to be put down for Cloud9. This is it. The money pick. Winner moves on to the next round to face off against enemy in the grand finals. And a Hunbatz, potentially?
It's either Hunbatz or Circuit. I don't think Mercury's open as well, but I don't think that's what they want to go.
All right, here we go. This is it. Final predictions. Best of 5. We're all the way to game 5 now. QE?
You know, C9.
So excited.
The least confident C9.
There's too much control for Cloud9. It's going all the way to Cloud9 for game 5.
I just have to stick with it. That was my prediction, 3-2 Epsilon.
I mean, at this point, you can't turn back. You've already
I was waving the flag before we went in picks and bans, Golden Boy.
Yeah, no, exactly. All right, well, I have Cloud9 to have an NA final. Let's see how this pans out. Make some noise for game number 5 in this epic best of 5 matchup between 2 legendary teams. And of course, legendary teams need legendary casters. Take it away, boys.
Thank you very much, Golden Boy. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the elimination game for Europe as a whole in this tournament. It is game number 5 of Cloud9 versus Epsilon.
This is it. I mean, like, this is what we've been waiting for so many months. We were, I think, hoping. Everyone at home, everyone here, the casters, the analysts, we were just hoping it wasn't going to be one-sided.
Great to see this one go to distance.
This is probably the most important set we've had since Worlds last year. I mean, this is incredible.
Yeah, and it's just the picks and bans alone have me so excited. I mean, the duo lane went back to their cover picks. C9's duo lane did Sobek and Xbalanque. And then we have Hunter versus Hunter mid and Medusa versus Neith. I'm really curious to see who wins that.
Well, we think it is. It could still be the Soul. Let's see where the gods have gone. And indeed, it will be Yammyn piloting the Medusa in the mid lane as we expected. The rest of the squad for Epsilon is the blue team at the bottom of the minimap on the left side of your spectator UI. Dimi will once again be Bellona adapting on the Fenrir. Yammyn in the mid lane as Dusa. And that's iRaffer and emiltoo as the duo lane Geb and Soul. Their opponents looking to close out the Europeans and bring an all North American final. It's Cloud9. Baskin will be the solo lane as Xing, Tian, andinster in the jungle as Hunbots. MLC Stealth in the mid lane as Neith. JeffHindla and BaRRaCCuDDa are in the duo lane as Sobek and Xbalanque.
For those of you here, you are witnessing history. It's not many times we'll get a game 5, and between two titans from two different regions, it's very unlikely. This is truly a blessing for a caster like myself to be able to see this kind of thing. We grind for the whole year playing a lot of season games. We have a lot of substitutions. Sometimes we'll have DCs, but this is all worth it. It makes every second worth it.
Yeah, this has been a great set to watch, and one thing to notice is just how many viable picks there are in Smite now, and just to see them all come out here in spades, you know, Medusa mid, Neith mid, and all these
Bellona.
picks. Bellona all the time.
Fringe viability for Bellona there, but
Yeah,
still
yeah,
just something that people like to go to.
But one thing I want to pay attention to in the early game here is with Sobek, C9 loves to get to lane first. They love to hit level 2 first, and then they love to zone. So I want to see if Epsilon will let that happen, or how will it pan out.
Well, no hand of the gods this time for Epsilon.
I love BaRRaCCuDDa on the Xbalanque, right? Like you said, go back to his roots, play the hyper carry, play the physical hunter, and go for it. He has a little bit more safety with Rising Jaguar versus Valkyrie's Discretion with a 90-second cooldown. I really like the way they've started this.
Hey, I like the idea of going to BaRRaCCuDDa Xbalanque here. Oh, mid camps. There's going to be a fight over here on the right side for these mid camps.
Stealth in
Brutalizes
trouble.
out. Stealth in a lot of trouble. Moving forward, there's the spray. One more shot to do it. First blood going to Epsilon. Going to a turn kill for Andy. Anytime, no, it's happening. Overhand smash, still going to find the kill. Yammyn, 2 more in hands. Doesn't matter. There's the bludgeon. And it's a double for the Hunter in the mid lane.
And he got a crit. He got the return kill, but he overstated his hand there. There was no way he was going to be able to take down another
Did they both have red pots?
Oh, let's go back to the items. Check that out.
I believe adapting did, and I think they both did for sure. But 1,000 experience still going to go the way of Epsilon there. And looking at the items, yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell, but I would assume both of them did.
They both had red pot, and they both got boots, won, couple pots, and pretty much a reset in the jungle.
But both of those kills went to Medusa. I think that's the big key here. A character who can carry pretty well in the end game.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, the point of the Neith mid is to, you know, provide a lot of pressure to Epsilon's jungle, but now Medusa's the one that's ahead, and it's Epsilon that's going to be aggressing.
So without a red pot on either side, does Fenrir out-clear Hunbots now?
100%. Hunbots is one of the slowest clearing gods in the early game. Fenrir has a lot of damage, has a lot of scaling in his jump, in his one, and his brutalize.
Nonetheless, Cloud9's going to take both of the back camps on the right side of the map here. As andinster Soul is one down. On the backside, Neith finding the other.
That is so important, not because he's getting the extra golden experience, but because Andy is still willing to take risks after an early death like that. A pretty big early deficit, and in game 5 of one of the most important sets of his life, that shows that he's playing his normal game and he's not getting tilted.
Yeah, it's very important as a jungler to keep level-headed. You control the pace of the game, and if you are off to the slow start, that affects the rest of your team.
Good pressure. Over on the left side, BaRRaCCuDDa locking down the Soul, is adapting in Yammyn. Come back in. They're going to notice those back camps are gone. It's going to be a small deficit, but Medusa, already level 5, has control of the mid lane.
And it does indeed look like Cloud9 has gone for this very aggressive lane clear base and kind of zoning composition. Geb plucked out of position here.
Raffer in a little bit of trouble. He should be fine with the Geb shield, though.
Minion Wave doing the most of that damage there, going to eat some pots away from Raffer. Actually, he's not sitting on any more health pots, so no more regen for him.
The biggest thing to see is C9 won a lot of their games on the back of pressuring that purple buff on respawn. Will they do that the same game, even though andinster's a bit behind?
Raffer only loaded out here with the Watcher's Gift and Blink 1, so he's going to have a lot of gold banked up to go ahead and grab what should be what boots 2. Yeah, indeed it is. So Geb going to have that extra MS.
Baskin and Dimi continue to slap box. You'll see over on the right side, neither one really getting the better of the other, but you'll note Dimi's mana pool starting to shrink down. Much more mana intensive at this stage of the game. Dimi only really needs one spell, even if it doesn't land, to be able to clear the wave thanks to the cleave auto attacks.
Yeah, and the biggest thing to pay attention now is the purple buff and the blue buffs are both respawning, and depending on where each team goes, it'll tell us a lot where they want to pressure, what side of the map.
Look at adapting.
Adapting looks like he wants to, kind of shade to the left side of the map here. Still taking a look at these purple buffs and the mid lane. Neith not willing to move forward, though. MLC Stealth playing this very, very conservatively.
They're going to rotate over towards the left side, it seems. Get this purple buff safely. There's a 4-man rotation here right now, but now, strangely, Yammyn and Adapting taking a higher route through the jungle.
Yeah, they'll ward up just to the left side of the mid lane there.
They're going to see BaRRaCCuDDa.
Yeah, they'll find BaRRaCCuDDa. They're going to miss the stun, though, as the Rising Jaguar does have the immunity frames out in time. Yammyn and Adapting can combine for a purple buff here.
I would have loved to see Adapting. He could have brutalized that dash and immediately ultimate that Xbalanque.
Yeah, there's no beads.
Yeah, there's no beads, and they took that high route because they know the call in the dual lane was that BaRRaCCuDDa and JeffHindla didn't back. They know the ward time has ran out, and they were looking for a play.
Yammyn safely going back into the mid lane, doesn't want to pull any archer damage. Right side mid camps looks like we'll go to Cloud9. Still a slight deficit. Oh, no. Right side mid camps are being foregone.
It does look like they know that Hunbots has taken this route, though. Bellona is going to spot him out, and Yammyn was starting to shade over that way as well. And indeed, andinster will not find the blue bounty he was looking for.
He'll help clear the wave, though. Probably go back into his own jungle. Both buffs are available on both sides of the map at 4:30. Dimi will take a small amount of damage, but with his mana pool, I'm expecting it back soon anyway.
Yeah, Medusa actually wasted a little time there. If you saw that, she was starting the speed buff, but then was called off by Adapting, and she missed the whole wave in mid.
Well, she'll get the mid camps at least, most likely. Right side mid camps were taken as well. Adapting, clearing those up. Speed going to be taken down. Decent amount of experience and gold around the map for Epsilon at the 5-minute mark. 2-1, they still lead.
Yeah, and they'll get the 1,000 gold experience here. I'm sorry, 1,000 gold lead, but dead even in experience through 5 minutes. But hey, you still got to be happy with the 1,000 gold you have picked up.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad start considering the purple pots and red pots that were started with. andinster level 7 compared to Adapting level 6 as well is a little strange, but you got to give it to the fact that he got the kill, whereas Yammyn level 8 compared to the level 7 from MSC Stealth because he got the double.
Yeah, it's actually very interesting to see what these two teams are planning to do, as they get closer to the mid game. Before, each team had a Freya, and both teams prioritized pressuring the Freya, but now it's tough to say what they're going to do.
I'm just so excited to see this Medusa come back. It was my favorite thing that Epsilon did at regionals. I went up to Yammyn multiple times. He told me, he's like, you keep saying the same thing. I get it. You think it's cool. Like, I'm just so excited to see it again. His ults are the best Medusa ults I have ever seen. The way he hides them in the wall, it's a pretty common strategy, but comes out on almost the last possible frame to ensure maximum potential of stuns and double damage.
Yeah, and actually one of the best things about Medusa against the Hunbots is her ultimate is a channel, and she's CC immune for the whole channel, so that'll give her plenty of time to walk out of the Hunbots ult if she gets jumped on.
Xbalanque still no beats here. You got to think Fenrir's making his way over soon. emiltoo just popping that extra MS, I guess, to get back to lane.
Got a decent amount of BaRRaCCuDDa's health as well with that stellar burst. They're going to rotate into the jungle here for pressure, but look at the rotations toward the left side mid camps. Adapting has control here. He's going to go for the stun, and he jumps away just in time. iRaffer rolls out, but he's not going to find much for his trip over.
Just a counter ward just here to the left side of the lane. JeffHindla going to miss that pluck as well, and you can see the team's very, very hesitant to commit too fully to anything here in this early game. iRaffer in a strange position here, though. Okay, no, he's fine. The old blink into rollout in the enemy jungle. Classic strat.
Go back in the other direction and try to bait it back out. Forcing actually going to take a huge amount of damage. Geb shield was late there.
Yeah, he doesn't avoid the damage, does remove the root right away. There's going to be a Neith ultimate. They're really trying to reach for this one. JeffHindla channeling his ultimate, but Sobek doesn't have any damage items. iRaffer's going to use his ultimate as well, and that's got to be enough.
Oh my God, I love it.
In the meantime, the turnaround kill will be successful for Epsilon. Yammyn with the slow.
So right there, what he does, he thinks to himself, I have percentage damage. I'm going to do it for the highest percent possible while he still has a decent amount, so he leads the fight with Cataclysm.
Exactly, and one thing to note there, actually, C9 should have had a guaranteed kill, but andinster missed his bouncing monkey on the Geb and couldn't follow up the Sobek play.
This Hunter mid stuff, I didn't think we were going to see the mirror match. Well,
yeah, it's funny. When the Hunters are in the long lane, they refuse to fight each other. In the mid lane, it's a bloodbath.
So far, it has been. At least BaRRaCCuDDa might be in some trouble here. Decent damage. Gets him all the way. Wow.
Yeah, Ragnarok not even available there. Adapting just simply dives a tier 2 tower and finds an easy kill into Xbalanque. Rising Jaguar, not enough to get him out of there safely.
Can we see Adapting real quick? I would love to know what he's leveling. I'm assuming that was another level into Brutalize. No, his Brutalize level 5.
So max Brutalize.
That did a lot of damage.
Yeah, that tells me their pregame planning was, let's target this Xbalanque. He has a really hard time getting away from Fenrir. The Fenrir Brutalize follows the Xbalanque dash, and you saw how much damage it did.
iRaffer just taking a scenic route through the mid lane there. He's not going to get flung back, though. JeffHindla slightly off the mark. iRaffer trying to fight back will take some damage.
He's just saying hi. Moving over to the left side camps here, which we'll pick up. Right side was completed earlier as well by Epsilon. They've had pretty substantial mid-camp control this game.
So far, it seems to me like Epsilon controls both the mid and the left side of the map. We got to remember, this is Baskin's Xing 10.
True, but if we do remember, this matchup did happen. I think it was game 2 or 3, but Epsilon did win that game once Cloud9 had the Xing 10 against Bellona.
Yes, they did. But, you know, they also had the Freya. No, they didn't. They did have Freya.
That was the Freya game,
which really does help out significantly versus that Xing 10.
iRaffer looks like by himself for a few more seconds, trying to hold these creeps off the tower while taking as little damage as possible. Uses the stone shield to ensure he takes almost nothing.
I'm also a bit curious about Xbalanque's item build here. He is getting pressured out by the Soul. The Soul went pen boots, which means the Soul wants to be aggressive.
Right.
And instead of going Soul Eater to, you know, just sit back and farm, he actually went boots first. I'm a bit curious.
I think he's trying to be as safe as possible. If he goes into Soul Eater for a little more health, he might not have the movement speed to get away from the very aggressive adapting.
Right, it's just the extra health and defense would really stop adapting from being able to one-shot him.
Yeah, it's a trade of the extra health and physical protection versus the extra MS just to outpace the Brutalize, but it doesn't seem like, I mean, Ragnarok gives you so much bonus MS on Fenrir that I'm not sure that the extra boots would have really made the difference here.
Exactly.
Gold Fury getting started up here. emiltoo just using the Gold Fury to stack up his passive. Going to take about 20 hits to get this maxed out. Andinster jump. Wow.
Okay, let's go in.
Going right in. JeffHindla taking a ton of damage. He's erased.
Oh my God.
The get shield was so quick getting him out. And adapting back in.
Ragnarok into the Soul Ultimate. We didn't even consider that combination. It's insane. Yammyn trying to chase down MLC Stealth. In the meantime, Xing Chen has a great angle here.
In trouble.
Yammyn's dead.
Get shield. Oh my God, you gotta be kidding me.
No, the Cataclysm as well. Baskin Robin cannot close the distance now. He'll try the Rapper, punch him away, and Yammyn will live with a pixel.
Man, Pain of Beyond's sitting somewhere in the crowd going, wow, was that why they were yelling? Jeez, I'm pretty good at this game.
Two huge things happened in that team fight. Xing 10 actually had another proc on his leap, but the Geb ultimate canceled that out. And the second important thing is Bellona has been free farming that whole time.
That's true. They didn't get anything out of that. Epsilon got basically a free kill. Yammyn was overextended. Now Dimi walks over. Baskin committed so much and is not going to get anything out of this.
Yeah, and one more thing to note is that Epsilon's getting a little bit sloppy in these team fights. Medusa was off on her own, you know, behind the red buff.
Calculated. Come on.
Yeah. But I do need to be careful.
Really, tunnel vision there from Yammyn. Definitely moving. That is like the deadliest corridor in all of Smite.
Well, what happened was MLC Stealth backed, or rather back flipped. Immediately, Yammyn reacts by going into the ultimate, getting the slow and going pretty deep, but he got fairly baited.
Gold Fury going to be at least sniffed out here by Cloud9. Trying to bait Epsilon into this. They'll get iRaffer to turn the corner now. Can they make anything out of it? No, he'll blink away from the charge prey.
iRaffer, not a great initiation here. He's still going to try to find himself in a good spot by rolling around the Gold Fury. He'll back off, though. emiltoo's here for the Stellar Burst damage if necessary. Left side mid-camp's going to be going to blue.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a power spike for C9. They do really well with levels. They have a lot of scaling into Poison Darts, Neith Root, and Hump Bots overhand smash, so they're looking to be aggressive.
Although it is less scaling into the Poison Darts now in this build than previously before. Cataclysm going to be used as well onto andinster there. Stellar Burst just off the mark. Cloud9 just a little bit off the timing for that purple buff, trying to take it away from emiltoo.
iRaffer has almost no mana. An extended engagement here will definitely wind up hurting Epsilon. Cloud9 has a pretty good advantage, and they're going to take it. Dimi gets flung back. Decent damage. Forced the Geb shield early, but JeffHindla gets completely crippled.
Yeah, they knew that the Cataclysm was used there as well, and now the Sobek ultimate here going to be expended by Cloud9. So a couple of big team fighting ultimates have been used. Neither team seeming too willing to fight.
Dimi, actually.
Yeah, Dimi ulted over the wall there.
And he's going to back immediately. We're going to get a Sentry Ward placed down, 100 gold gain for 2 wards lost.
Oh, adapting could be in trouble here. Ragnarok to stop any bonus damage coming out. Baskin realizes he can't dive the tower just yet with only his Breastplate of Valor. And with the Geb rotating back in, iRaffer's one stone shield did come up pretty big there, but does need to fall back and pick up some more mana, does the Geb.
Gold Fury's going to stay safe for now. Both teams going to wash it out. Epsilon still up 5-1 with almost 3,000 gold to their name.
Yeah, I expect a little less fighting on the Gold Fury now as buffs spawn. Dimi there securing his blue, speed coming up shortly.
But vision is controlled by Cloud9 at the Gold Fury for now, with that sentry still standing.
So now BaRRaCCuDDa over in this left side continues to free farm Zap. He's going to back here. I'm expecting the Soul Eater.
Yeah, 100% he's going to go into the Soul Eater. At that point, he might be able to box out the Soul if he can get his Poison Darts off.
Attack speed boots versus Warrior Tabby. How do you feel?
That is actually a good build because Xbalanque gets a lot of damage from his 1. He actually gets 50 extra damage, branching bolas, as well as his passive. So attack speed boots do scale pretty well into the late game, more than the physical power.
Adapting, looking for a way into this, jumps in, finds a good stun. There's another from the Cataclysm, finds 3, but no follow-up. Adapting, trying for the chase, gets flung out of the Fear No Evil, a wasted ult from andinster, but they continue to pressure on. iRaffer forced to shield himself. He's stuck, but
Yammyn does
they're
have
not
the
rousing.
ultimate. And he's going to find a kill here underneath, guaranteed with the Giant Cone. And indeed, down will fall MLC Stealth. Yammyn credited with his 3rd kill of the game, 6-1 for Epsilon.
The MVP of these fights and this game right now are the Geb shields. There's been at least 5 times Geb has saved people with his shield.
They're rushing down the tier 1, a 500 gold win. It's possible they could look towards the Gold Fury, but their health pools are diminishing quickly. Flung back, JeffHindla way overcommitted here. He's gonna send 2 into the tower. It's still alive. They're trying for it, but immediately Dimi goes to the back line, erasing BaRRaCCuDDa.
Yammyn doesn't have the dash. andinster now finds himself in an awkward position.
Teleport.
Blink forward. Dimi
Nice.
not going to be able to follow this
play.
one up as the ultimate is not available from the Bellona.
They're trying to stop this. Baskin took a huge swing right there from that stellar burst. emiltoo will retreat back over to left.
Yeah, what you saw there is one of the few counterplays that there are to Sobek. If you have beats up, you can bait the pluck and pop your beats. Sobek's in a really bad spot after that.
It just sticks him in place for almost an entire second. Very similar to what happens to Mercury.
Yeah, it basically guarantees any kind of CC onto the Sobek.
And at this stage of the game, you know, level 9, level 10 Sobek's not super tanky. And you compare that to, you know, you have a Bellona, you have, of course, a Medusa, a Soul.
But, I mean, even with that Soul, Cloud9 able to hold their tier 1 tower. It looked a little sloppy, but Baskin's ultimate comes up big there. And it does stop that push, forces out the Stone Shield onto the Medusa, who then, you know, they have to expend resources basically to save her at that point. Stalling out the push, and Cloud9 holding on, keeping this one within 3,000 gold.
Yeah, speaking of Soul, I love emiltoo's build. I love that he went for the pen boots, just so his damage can be a little bit more relevant here because he has the Geb support. Geb doesn't have as much damage as, let's say, Bacchus or, you know, like Xing 10 or anything like that. So he's making up for that with the pen boots.
Oh, Adapting getting tagged by the Spirit Arrow. They're going for it. They pop his beads. He's going to pop his ult as well. I'm surprised he didn't go for Andy there. Did Andy have beads? He did.
He did, yeah, just to get the... But it is beads 1. I mean, it probably would have been worth it nonetheless.
That's true.
But just too worried about dying there. I mean, too much damage coming out from that Neith on top of it with the Spirit Arrow as well.
iRaffer going to sniff out the rotation. It seems that they were gesturing the Gold Fury, but they don't actually commit to it. They retreat back to the mid lane to continue the pressure.
Yeah, look for a lot of fighting now to happen in mid lane or into the jungle. There's no buffs up, so Epsilon's going to be looking for the picks.
Son of Gaia has been completed here onto the Bellona going into the Xing 10, but it's primarily physical damage coming out on the side of Cloud9.
This is the same thing we saw 2 games ago. Dimi choosing this lane defense instead of defense against hunters and assassins.
Yeah, I mean, he does want to try to be healthy, so when both solo laners do rotate with their teleport, he'll be full HP. It'll be okay as long as he follows it up with a Midgardian Mail.
Yeah, we can't not have a Midgardian Mail.
Has to
It was
happen.
over 30 minutes before we saw one in the last engagement. I mean, it's double hunter. You have to have it.
We do have a tier 1
finally
to
falls.
fall. Yeah, indeed. Over on the right side, the solo laner slapbox. And the left side, BaRRaCCuDDa finding even more free farm.
Yeah, are they going to go for Bear? Are they going to go for gold? Bear is going to go into the jungle here. Should be very careful. Adapting's there. There's going to be a pincer that's about to happen. As you can see, rotations coming in from both MLC Stealth and JeffHindla.
Oh, and they'll let the Gold Fury go with the Darkest of Nights being used by BaRRaCCuDDa. And now will turn the corner, eat a stellar burst, and on the backside, in will come Bellona, stunning out BaRRaCCuDDa yet again. Trying to move forward as iRaffer finds the knock-up onto multiple targets. Soul damage coming through, doing tons. And Dimi gets credited for the kill onto BaRRaCCuDDa. And Neith ultimate used, but not in time. JeffHindla falls to Yammyn as well. And Adapting continues to move forward. Ragnarok used. Beads 1, pop by andinster. Baskin will wrap up a couple, but he hasn't stopped Dimi in the front line. Adapting with the Brutalize coming back in. Isn't enough. No, just barely forced to cancel from the damage of MLC Stealth.
But more than enough damage has been done with Jeff and BaRRa falling. Epsilon have complete control over the lane, complete control over the jungle, and what looks like to be the first Gold Fury of the game.
Yeah, this Fenrir right now, Epsilon's just making the right calls in these team fights. They know they have the best advantage to taking out the BaRRaCCuDDa on the Xbalanque because he has a dash. Brutalize follows the dash. BaRRaCCuDDa dies.
I don't see Cloud9 pulling another rabbit out of the hat, man. We are almost 6K down here for Cloud9.
It's getting very, very dire. If you're Cloud9 fans out there, you're going to need to show your support for these guys because it's got a very, very long path back in. I mean, they need at least one major team fight here at an objective and a couple of towers in the back of it as well to draw this one back to even.
Yeah, the biggest thing Cloud9 needs to do is they need to make their Humbots ults count. So far, I don't think there's been one kill
Very
that's been a
reactionary.
result. Yeah, that's been a result of the Humbots ult.
In fact, Andy's getting kind of worked here by this Bellona. I think the biggest thing for me in that last team fight was Bellona does some decent damage. You know, someone's about to die, and all she had to do was bludgeon, and she was allowed to bludgeon. There were so many people. There's 4 people on top of her, and she's getting spells off.
Yeah, I think C9 needs to be a little bit more patient with their CC. Sobek needs to save his tail whip. Baskin needs to save his knockup for that Bellona too, and for Peel.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and one of the most impressive things to me about Epsilon and specifically adapting as we ride along with the Fenrir is this player's ability to just do the math and figure out how he can get in and out of fights. I mean, constantly now we're seeing him engage in with the leap, get the stone shield, run out, come back in with the brutalize, cancel after 2 hits, and then Ragnarok a different target, right? Just adapting as a machine is what we hear about this player from everyone that has to play against him.
iRaffer going in pretty deep here. Overhand smash to whiff as iRaffer just tries to check out the jungle. Red buff will be taken, it looks like, and put onto MLC Stealth.
Polynomicon is completed by the Soul as well here, so a little bit extra burst coming out on the side of Epsilon. This magical damage starting to really stack up, and we have a Breastplate of Valor and a Sovereignty out as the only 2 defensive items on the board.
I really love the fact that we're actually seeing the red buff onto emiltoo and the purple buff onto Yammyn. They're switching, even though the roles would dictate otherwise, because they know the burst damage is far more important on the Soul. She's got the poly.
Well, it's the tower damage from the Soul is now they have moved up. It's only BaRRaCCuDDa coming on to stop this split push. He's just not going to be in time. emiltoo takes this for free.
And look
Yammyn, I mean, they're just juggling the aggro here, waiting for the next minion wave, a stellar burst, but emiltoo should just have this. I mean, all the bonus damage coming out. No, indeed, that Darkest of Nights is going to be enough. They're not sure with the rotation. They don't have very good ward coverage.
Exactly. Great play by BaRRaCCuDDa there to scare them off the tower. They should have had it for free, but they didn't.
I mean, Xbalanque, I mean, like, you see what he does. He forces so much fear into Epsilon. And this character, he's been in this situation so many times where he's down. If he gets to endgame, I mean, no one on this map carries half as hard as he does.
Yeah, I mean, his branching bullets is kind of like half an item. That extra physical power really scales well into the mid game.
More than that.
Especially once he gets his first crit item. He'll crit for at least 500-600, whereas other hunters would crit for 3 to 4.
First to pop 10,000 net worth is Bellona on the side of Epsilon. Dimi getting way out ahead now, level 18. Baskin, Xing 10, level 17. But the late game, it's a very good late game for Cloud9. I mean, they can't give up this tier 2. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Another 1,500 gold pending to go to the way of Epsilon, and indeed it will. BaRRaCCuDDa in a lot of trouble now, is over the top. Will come the Fenrir, and adapting in the Ragnarok form, just looking for another target. Down will go JeffHindla. Another off the mark. Huntbot's ultimate there. Gem Shield keeping adapting alive.
Is it enough?
He will fall now. Yes, indeed, he will. emiltoo and Dimi rooted in place. It's just Baskin and MLC Stealth, and Baskin will be falling. Can they follow us up? Yammyn's going to slither ahead. 1 shot, 2 shots. 3rd shot not going to hit, and they can't dive the Phoenix just yet. Hunbot trying to harass the backline here, but I'm not sure that andinster is really going to be too effective against emiltoo.
He's trying to bait. The somersault's going to get him away. I think he's going to look to go back in here. He knows he's going to get chased down. There it is. He goes right. He dodges the stellar burst, but the Gem Shield again. He's been baited. iRaffer too quick, and he falls 14 to 3.
emiltoo and andinster there showing insane mechanics. emiltoo was trying to bait the Humbot's jump by auto-attacking, thinking that andinster would think that it was his 2 proccing. And then andinster had a great juke with his bouncing monkey teleport as well.
9,000 gold ahead is Epsilon through 21 minutes. A tremendous lead. 14,000 experience on top of it as well. And the items continue to roll in. Executioner on its way from Yammyn.
Man, this is getting dire. MLC Stealth's Neith is 3 levels behind the Medusa. I mean, Neith is not a character you ever want to see behind. I mean, she just doesn't bring enough to the table.
And yeah, he's pretty much given up the late game here on the Neith, going for Jotun's Wrath.
He's going for Hunter Mage. Yeah. And the biggest thing about C9's comp, though, is if they don't get ahead, they really don't have any significant magic damage to help them, counteract the defensive items of Epsilon.
And now the Midgardian Mail out, the Frostbound Hammer done as well. Another anti-attack speed item is going to be a big problem.
Mail of Renewal getting picked up by adapting is going to ensure that if he does get the 1 kill he's been getting, he's going to be impossible to take down.
Xbalanque continues to split push. Cloud9 trying to bend and not break as adapting, and the rest of Epsilon will go into the tier 2 tower here on the right side. Xbalanque ultimate used in a fight about to break out as they will continue this siege. Let's take a listen in with Epsilon comms as they look to take yet another tier 2.
Go mid.
I got the buff.
Go mid.
Heavenly.
Tower. Get him.
He's dead.
Nice.
Shield for you.
Go Sobek, go Sobek.
Use this block.
Oh my god, boys. Tower.
Oh my god, boys. Fire.
After it.
I missed my ult.
Come on. Keep it up. Stay focused. We win this
I'm
game.
gonna stun on him. Shield.
Hey, he dashed in.
Knock him up. Fuck him up, boys. The tower, please.
Kill him.
Fire. Listen, killer. I'm coming over from fire. Phoenix fire.
I'm backing. I am backing.
Okay.
You get Phoenix. Attack it. Yeah. 103 per auto.
Go fire.
Going fire.
Gold up, right? You go fire. Fire should be free.
Rush.
Fire should be free. I'm warding gold up.
Look at DPS. Look at DPS.
It should be free. It's free. There's 3 people alive and they're all inside their base. So.
Adapting has not disappointed.
iRaffer went back.
Look at this. I mean, oh, all right, now I'm disappointed.
Someone got hit?
Yeah, he got hit by it. Should be okay, though. It doesn't look like they have enough room to do this. And right into his ultimate he goes to ensure that he's not going to get
doesn't work
CC'd.
anymore.
It's not season 1.
Yeah, what are you doing?
He still applied damage. Just
Well,
not
yeah, once,
massive damage.
yeah.
But he was doing that to make sure he wasn't getting CC'd. He could still apply auto attacks. Really smart play.
Yeah, and C9 realizes that they were low and they did do the
And
fight.
don't
This
do
is
it.
their only time that they can maybe get a pick here for free.
Yeah, and they try, and they're not going to find too much here. Worldweaver going to come through as well, but just too little too late to find a kill at the 24-minute mark. It's 18-3 for Epsilon and Cloud9 with their backs against the wall. Already, enemy has qualified for the grand finals, and it does look indeed like Epsilon will be their opponent. Baskin going to dive the tier 1 tower here, but in comes the rest of the team. iRaffer ports in, and Bellona, he catches everybody, and the solo ultimate doing tons of damage. Baskin going to try to disrupt, but the backline goes, adapting, and JeffHindla falls, and then no one is checking the Fenrir. Someone's got to stop adapting in the backline. He's going to kill everybody. BaRRaCCuDDa's going to go down. Baskin's going to get picked up. Baskin's going to fall as well.
Stop him!
Just 2 members left. A low HP andinster, an MLC Stealth, and MLC Stealth is going to fall as well. The root's going to come through. He's coming up
He's done. They're throwing it in. They're throwing it in. It's over, son. Cloud9, the world champions, have been dethroned, and it will be Europe's Epsilon to take them down.
And in a spectacular fashion, and in just poetic justice, adapting, makes a name for himself as the Fenrir player, the best in the world, and now carries his team to victory in game number 5 versus North America. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Epsilon Esports.
Plot armor does not exist as we thought for Cloud9. Game 1 would have spelt a pretty devastating win to Epsilon had they dropped that game and dropped the set as a result, but it was too much for them to deal with in the end. I don't want to say superior play from Epsilon wound up putting them on top. They just, game 5 went in their favor.
Yeah, and it was great to see Adapting do it with the god he started the game with, the Fenrir.
Exactly, yeah. Seeing it come full circle for Adapting, guys. That does do it for game number 5. Epsilon will move on to face enemy, and that does it for us here from the desk. Kelly Lake, take it away.
Thank you so much, Bar. I am here. Let's give it up for Epsilon, guys. That went to game 5, and it was looking shaky, guys. A win, a loss, a win, a loss. What was going through your head during those times?
There was 4 words going through my mind, and it was easy game, easy life, I think it was. Woo! Let's go!
All right, you guys are going up against enemy tomorrow. What are your thoughts on that? Same 4 words?
No, I respect enemy. You know, he's very confident, but hopefully we can bring it to EU. Let's hear some noise.
Is there anything you'd like to say to your fans and sponsors?
I love everyone. Thank you for stopping by all our streams. I love you all. You're all awesome. I just love playing in front of all of you.
Well, congratulations, you guys, and we'll be right back right after this analysis.
All right, folks. And that's a wrap for the defending champions Cloud9. But Epsilon moves on to make it yet another NA-EU final to close it out at the Smite World Championships 2016. But let's actually talk about the story real quick, because I just noticed this. I mean, both teams came from placements. Enemy had one heck of a road, you know, running into Fnatic. And then, of course, Pain Gaming, which no one gave them, you know, a chance. They said Pain could actually move forward and so on and so forth. And then again, against Paradigm, no one gave him a chance. Said Paradigm's going to take this #1 seed out of Europe. And then on the other side, you had Epsilon. A lot of people felt, yeah, Epsilon's got this, but there were some question marks, right? Like the close matchup that they had against Pain Gaming. And of course, their epic matchup against Fnatic that concluded in them going 2-0. And then to do it again, 3-2 over Epsilon, over Cloud9. I mean, really, I'm at a loss for words. What a series we just saw. You got one right, buddy. You got one right.
Both right today.
You
Series
did.
Scores and all.
You did. The streak is over.
First seeds do not win Smite tournaments. Proven fact, like 2 out of 17. And totally, you're gonna have to hold that one.
Right in the hair too. It's gonna get tangled up in there. It's not gonna feel nice when you pull it. You know, it's gonna.
Yeah, I definitely ate my words after this series. I was a little shocked, I'm not gonna lie. But at the same time, we can't be too sad about an EU versus NA finals.
Yeah, we can't at all. QE, you were crying for a brief moment. There were tears of sadness or tears of joy. I don't know, because it was such a great series. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not going to lie, I'm just not a fan, but Epsilon played fantastically, and I'm pretty excited for the finals versus Enemy and Epsilon. I think it will be a pretty good game.
So I think one of the major stories was adapting.
Oh, man.
Right? He was just so phenomenal, and then did it again. He did it in Game 4. And then he just did it again in Game 5. Was a big part of that victory. There were a lot of things that you can talk about in that series, but adapting is one that I want to kick it off with.
Adapt King Kenneth. This kid is the best player in the world, no doubt in my mind, and he's proven it here against the best team in North America. These last 2 games, it was obviously a team effort, but his Fenrir play was unstoppable. There was nowhere you could be safe against him. He was in every single lane, put so much pressure out, and it was just kind of the speed he does it. He's just baiting, no hesitation ever. Got so many kills, set every single one of his teammates up for success, and as a result, Epsilon, they come out on top.
We called it in the beginning of the series that it would either be andinster or adapting that would be making the huge impact plays. And in games number 4 and 5, when adapting went Fenrir, he had the opportunities to make these aggressive plays and put his team into positions to succeed.
Yeah, I mean, again, adapting. This guy just proved it. Why he, was the GOAT, as you had listed him. You actually called adapting in the first matchup of the day when we went to, it was actually number 1, right? Epsilon versus i-raffer. And we were talking about it, we were breaking it down, and I went through all the names, and in the notes you said adapting, parentheses, GOAT. Greatest of all time. He's one step closer from being able to prove that. And, he has a tough enemy in front of him, but we'll get, no pun intended, hey-yo. But we'll get to that in a little bit. I want to talk about Yammyn as well. Yammyn, another great player, had some pretty solid plays. We'll start with you, Anatoly. What were some of the, key points you've noticed from Yammyn's play that he could bring to tomorrow?
Well, specifically the ISIS games that brought out, they were very well played and well orchestrated. And I wasn't surprised personally by the Medusa pick. We see here the first blood was really well orchestrated there, allowing to take off the red buff there. But either way, Yammyn playing Medusa, playing the ISIS, we might see this tomorrow against Enemy.
Yammyn and adapting have such a good synergy. I think Yammyn in this game, like 0-7, he just did pretty good. And like, he has such a big gap pull, and like, you can plan him out. Like, he plays ISIS at such high level, Medusa and Janos.
I mean, again, just credit to adapting, credit to Yammyn and what he was able to accomplish as well. Some stellar play there with the Medusa that you guys can see. I mean, just, running roughshod all over them. And then another player that I want to cover is emiltoo. Because, you know what, we had noticed that there could have been some problems with emiltoo. Maybe he was on tilt, was what we had talked about in Game 4. 100% proved that was not the case going into Game 5. So, yeah, I mean, what's up with him?
emiltoo, just like the rest of Epsilon, just mechanically gifted. He has proven, I think, to me personally, that he is no more king of tilt. He is someone who, with his team at the very least, is very much in the right mind, and even on his hind leg, he can still perform. And he had such a great performance on Soul, making sure to pressure BaRRaCCuDDa out and setting up for adapting to come in and make sure to lock him down and get some of those early kills.
Yeah, again, emiltoo definitely he did what he needed to do here, and he got the job done. Another player was Dimi the Undying, because you had mentioned him before, and he had a great record until this game, where he died quite a bit, you know, but still not a disservice or discredit to him by any means. And Anatoly, this is for you. You know, what is it about Dimi, like, you know, that he can bring to tomorrow's games, but also what did he do specifically in this C9 matchup in the solo lane that allowed his teammates to be able to hold it together and get the W?
He just played like really solid foundation Smite. He put himself in a position where he was going to be able to farm and make a big impact in the mid to late game team fights. He made sure to zone out the enemy hunters whenever he could. We see him there getting a kill on BaRRaCCuDDa and then just zoning the rest of the team out, allowing his team to get the goal fury after that team fight.
Yeah, and some smart picks, some smart plays from him. And lastly, iRaffer, we don't want to leave him out right before we, you know, close it for the evening. Again, support played a big role as well, because, you know, everyone was talking about JeffHindla, and he is an incredible player, but iRaffer did his job.
You know, iRaffer did more than his job. I still think that Adapting is the best player in the world, but I think in this series, iRaffer might have been the best player overall. Just that insane save on Yammyn, right? Perfect, frame perfect Geb shield, frame perfect Cataclysm, frame perfect knockup, just so much protection, and that's what allows his team, right? We saw the constant aggression coming out from Adapting and Yammyn specifically, and that's because the trust they have in iRaffer. iRaffer was always in the right position to save his team, and he's leading them to victory. He has done such a great job with this team, and he deserves all the respect as one of the best teams in the world.
All right, well, that's it. I mean, you know, Cloud9, of course, they shouldn't, you know, it was a hard-fought battle, and they shouldn't hang their heads low by any means.
Oh.
Having a great season, you know, not only that, but of course everyone wants to get to that point at the championship. But man, what a series that was. It truly could have gone either way. So, you know, since I believe we won't have you guys up here tomorrow with us for the final, I want to ask you, you know, for your predictions on who you think will save you for tomorrow, because you never know, you may change your mind.
True.
So I want to ask you guys about who you think will come out in the final between Enemy and Epsilon. I will start with QE.
I mean, Enemy has been just playing fantastically. They LN, they just show up, like Yadana said. But Epsilon, they just look fantastic against C9. So I'm not sure who's gonna win. I'd like to see a 5-game set, but I'm gonna give it to an A because I'm an A fan.
Okay, okay.
So in this best of 5 set, we definitely saw Epsilon pull out more strategies than in the previous one for Enemy. So I feel like for that specific reason, I gotta give it to Epsilon just because of the more strategies.
Ooh, split down the middle. I like it. I like it. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for today. It has been a long day of Smite, but I think it goes without saying that this was one of the most exciting days, not only in SWC history, but also in Smite history. We had 2 incredible series, one between Paradigm and Enemy, the other between Cloud9 and Epsilon, and truly all 4 teams are master class teams that truly deserve everyone's adoration because of how talented they are. Now, we have a couple things to let you guys know about. We're not done yet. The stream isn't over, so don't go anywhere just yet, because the boys in blue, Envy, are going to take on Eager in a semi-final matchup to decide who faces off against Cognitive Gaming in the finals for the Xbox Smite World Championship, or Championship, excuse me. Exciting stuff ahead, people. And also, another thing that we want to talk about is the incredible cosplay competition, just the cosplay in general that Smite has here. The community, amazing. We saw it at the beginning of the show with the red carpet. I mean, you know, the on her, like, really?
The space on her was good.
Space on her, that was dope.
The tier as well, Sock Puppeteer.
The Sock Puppeteer was great. There were a couple really good outfits. Cosplay, of course, has been blowing up in the industry as of late, and it is no exception for the Smite community. Everyone, that is going to do it for us here at the Alienware Analyst Desk. Thank you so much. Good games, good night.